y'all boomers sit in your $1.2 million house or mansion that you paid two potatoes for 40, 50 years ago. Need to stop assuming that young people nowadays are lazy. People are working 40 to 60 hours a week and cannot afford to live? What is going on?
Parents are retired public school teachers. They're like younger boomers and have been teachers their whole lives. I want you to think about what life looks like for a household of two public school teachers with two kids today. Like, what does their house look like? What's their finances look like? Because this was my parents' situation.
Whoa. Public school teachers? They don't make that much.
As two public school teachers, this is where I grew up, on a lake with a boat. A 3-bedroom house, not like a super fancy house, but a 3-bedroom house. There are currently 2 houses for sale on this lake. One is $530,000 and the other is $1.2 million.
Jeez. With the current wage for public school teachers nowadays, yeah, they can't afford any of that. They can barely survive with 2 kids and maybe have like a house that costs, I don't know, 200K, 250K.
My parents moved onto in the 90s as 2 public school teachers with 2 children. They never had side hustles. They never had summer jobs. They had summers off. They were 2 public school teachers, and this is what that afforded them. My fiance and I now make combined what my parents made when I was like in high school, like decades into their teaching careers. Our apartment, when it rains on the outside, it rains on the inside. It's like enraging and unfathomable thinking about the world that people older than us got to live in, because no one ever gets to live like this with normal jobs ever again.
Okay, check out this chart. So the blue line is the average home values and the black line is the median household income. Let's start at 1970. Now look at it in 2020. So as home price keeps increasing, the median household incomes barely moves. Yeah, this is why nobody can afford a house nowadays.
Don't work anymore.
Why Gen Z and millennials don't want to work anymore?
And now everyone who's not going to watch the full video can go comment about how lazy I am, how lazy my generation is, and how we just don't want to work anymore. And now...
Yeah. Let's just get this out the way. Like, obviously, they're lazy people that don't want to work, just want to rely on government assistance, right? But there are other people who are hardworking and they barely can make enough. Maybe because they didn't pick the right major when they go to school. Maybe because they, just contend with what they have and just okay with working where they are. And they're being taken advantage of by their employers and barely making enough. That's what she's trying to say.
Now, for those that are still here, I will explain what we mean by that. I do want to work. If I didn't work, I think I would honestly probably get so bored that I would just want to off myself. Like, most of us want to work. It helps gives you purpose. It helps give you something to do. Hopefully you do something you're passionate about. Luckily for me, I do something I'm passionate about. So I genuinely like my job. But the problem is the purpose of a job is supposed to pay for you to be able to afford to live. And that's just not the case anymore. People in my generation who went to college, who did everything they were supposed to do, worked hard in school, went to a good college, graduated with their degree, yada yada, got their first job, and they can't afford to live. And we're working 40 to 60 hours a week, like on average, and we cannot afford to live. Like, we just do not make enough to pay rent, to pay for food. Everything is so expensive right now, and wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. So we are working full time, giving up a huge portion of our lives to work, and we can't even afford to live. That is why my generation is frustrated. That is why we don't want to work anymore, because we work really hard and we still can't afford to even get by. So, like, what's the point? We can't afford to save. We can't afford to buy things we want. We can't afford to go out and do fun things. We can barely afford to pay our rent and buy food. A lot of us have like 2 or 3 jobs, or like work a full-time job and have several side hustles. That is the case for me. And then older generations just look at us and they're like, you're not working hard enough. This is your fault. Like, you're not working hard enough. That's why you can't get... The reason we can't get by is because the cost of living since the 90s has gone up 67%, while the wages have only gone up 18%. So wages have not kept up with the cost of living. That is why we can't afford to live. Not because we're lazy, not because we don't work, not because we don't want to work anymore. That is why. That is all. We're also in extreme debt because everything is so much more expensive than it used to be. College is way more expensive than it used to be. Cars are way more expensive than they used to be. Housing, way more expensive than it used to be. And on top of all that, politicians and older generations are destroying our environment, not doing anything to protect it. So we don't even know that there'll be a habitable Earth when we're older to live in. So yeah, that makes us pretty pessimistic and nihilistic and not want to work.
Y'all boomers sit in your $1.2 million house or mansion that you paid 2 potatoes for 40, 50 years ago. Need to stop assuming that young people nowadays are lazy, because if people make enough, have enough to set aside and to afford a house, they wouldn't be working multiple jobs. They wouldn't be looking for side hustle or investing in meme coins and all these speculative assets. But the thing is, they're uncomfortably broke that they have to find multiple ways to make extra money in order to make ends meet. Oh yeah, cars are expensive nowadays. College are expensive, not even worth it. The price doesn't match the value that you're getting for college nowadays. What can you do about this? Well, first one is don't get an expensive car, just get a cheap one, pay cash for it. Whatever you do, try not to get car payments, because that shit gonna be draining you for 3 to 5 years. And then houses, don't even worry about buying a house if you're young right now. Sure, you want to build your net worth. You want to have equity in something tangible like a house. But the thing is, you probably not qualify for it. And when you do, you probably need a huge chunk amount of money. 1, for down payment, and 2, for emergency fund. Because once you start owning a house, things gonna break and you're gonna have to have cash aside to pay for those repairs. They ain't cheap. And last but not least, do whatever you can to increase your income, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's gig jobs, or you work on yourself, learn a new skill, and try to get a better job. Even if you have to take a job that's outside of your college major, fuck the degree. It don't matter no more. People say money doesn't matter, but here's the thing. Everything costs money. So does it really matter? Yes, it does, buddy.
What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? 2 or 3 years ago, people were getting $600 a week. Gas was $1.39. GameStop was taking people out the hood, and everybody had to stay in the house. Now gas is up to $7 a gallon.
That's Cali price, right? Woo, $7. See, here's the thing though. We need to get rid of cars, build smaller roads, and everyone drive mopeds. Mopeds cheap. It doesn't take much gas. It's super cheap to repair. There you go.
Rents cost $8. Rent is through the roof, and minimum wage is still at a bare minimum. Yo, why does a pack of grapes cost more than an hour of working? Five Below got items over $5 now. The Dollar Tree is $1.25. Arizona iced tea, you are our last hope. You are our last hope. We are hanging on a thread, and you are holding it.
I guess we can sit here and complain all day about how people are not getting paid enough, how everything is so expensive now, how we can't even afford to buy a house and have kids anymore, and fertility rate is decreasing every year. We can sit here and just complain about that all day, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna come and save our ass. So what can we do? We just need to figure out a way to survive and thrive, and to get there, 1, do everything you can to decrease and cut your costs, cut your expenses. If you're in survivor mode, it doesn't matter if your food is good. You just have to eat to get those calories so you can go to work. And number 2 is what can you do to increase your income? And I get it. At the end of the day, you're tired from work. You're tired from all the bullshit. But just try to get an extra 30 minutes, an hour, just trying to figure out if you can learn something or start something on your own. So you won't be even see it, but after a year, after 2 years, you'll be somewhere else way better than where you are right now. That's what I did. I ate ramens for years, and I try to increase my income after my day job. I try all kind of side hustles, trying to sell stuff on eBays. And yeah, I'm in a better place now, but not where I want to be. So let's just keep trying, I guess.